Happy Halloween, and to all those, and good night, or whatever we say around Halloween to people. Anyway, so in the spirit of the Halloween, aka one of my favorite holidays of the year, and it should be everyone else's, unless you're some uncultured swine, me and my sister were watching some Halloween movies, or more specifically, she found in the basement American Werewolf in London, and I happened to watch the last, half of it with her, and honestly, I was not impressed. But, that's not the point. My disappointment with that movie is not important. What is important is, it made me think of another movie I watched when I was a child. No, don't worry, I didn't watch American Werewolf in London as a child, don't worry. That I happened to, watch was Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman. Does anyone remember that movie? Yeah, well, I'm gonna make sure you remember it now. Anyway, so it's honestly, I think it's kind of a bit of a forgotten movie. I think it's still on Netflix, so I'm gonna have to go check. But I hope it is, or somewhere, because you should see it in all of its cheesy glory. It legitimately is one of those movies that I think I mostly like, to some extent. Part of me wants to say I only like it because it has so much nostalgia value to me, but another part of me wants to say it actually is a bit of a hidden gem. So, first thing, let me break down the premise to you. It's Alvin and Chipmunks meets the Wolfman. I would like to say that there's more to it, and don't worry, there is, but that's going to get me into spoiler territory. So before we go into spoiler land, how about we start with, something less spoilery. First thing, the animation, very good. It was always had that nice little look to me. I always appreciate about movies made around that time, whenever that was made, or at least when I was watching cartoons, they often had that kind of style, and I enjoy it. We don't see it enough anymore. I've seen way too much of that color style. Can we go back to this, or something closer to this, maybe? But that's neither here nor there. The voice actors all did a pretty good job. The voices didn't come off as irritating like Alvin or something, and all of them just seem really good. Though I do have to question every now and again, it is kind of funny how Alvin always sounds way more artificial as a voice than someone, say, like Simon or Theodore, the voices always came off more natural to me. Like every other character, even the Chipmunks, always had a voice that didn't seem, I don't know, something, nothing a complaint against Alvin, but his voice always came off as the most artificial to me. Oh, and another thing, now, if anyone who's Alvin and the Chipmunks, they use songs. I hope this isn't a, shocker to you, but it's good. It's a very good song. They have some really good songs that'll probably get stuck in your head. My personal favorite probably has to be the one of where Simon and Alvin are actually investigating, trying to find the Wolfman, we're on a mission, I think the song is. And the second one has to be I'm not sure in order, is the, Little Brother song. And if I can find, a playlist to the songs on YouTube, I will put link in the description, because you should listen to at least some of them. And that's all I can pretty much say without getting to spoiler territory. So if you want to watch this movie, and hopefully it's on Netflix, or you can find it on some other streaming site, for free or not, please use legal means, then please go watch it first before we get in here, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna assume you've seen the movie, or or you just don't care. So I'm gonna go give you a I'm not gonna give you a plot summary. I'm just gonna give you some things I thought were interesting about it. One, the metaphor of having Jekyll and Hyde be in it is actually kind of fun, as if you think about the concept of the werewolf and Jekyll and Hyde are kind of like cousin concepts. Or at the very least, though, they come from very different places. Werewolves mythologically coming from, deep lore and from having no clear origin, kind of like vampires, and Jekyll and Hyde having a very clear origin in, a book that you can go read. It's for free. It's in the public domain now. You can probably just find a free copy online, legally. But that's not the point. The point is, I think that works well, especially for how Theodore ends up being Hyde, which serves as a decent excuse of why people don't notice him acting differently, which I always thought was kind of neat. What are some other things? One, I love the Mr. Talbot character in the concept of him being a descendant of the Wolfman. I think it was father or grandfather, but I can't remember. And the detail that he took the silver bullets used to kill him into the cane, that was hardcore. Now, also, I do have to remember, I'm not entirely sure if the Wolfman they're referring to is the one from one of the old Universal films, or a Hammer film, or maybe it's just the Wolfman in general, but I always interpret it as that old black and white Wolfman, that I saw bits of as a kid. If any of now, I'm not even remotely sure how the timeline of that would work out, but I don't know. It's always a thought I thought was interesting. What were some other details I liked about? One, Simon, his skepticism in the movie was actually reasonable. So many logical or aka science characters will often be skeptical about supernatural things, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not. And sometimes it gets to the point of being comedic. Velma often suffers from this, where it's like, dude, you've seen so many supernatural stuff in like a 3-week period. Did you forget Zombie Island or anything else? I know continuity is different between movies, but still, it kind of irks me every now and again. But Simon actually has a reasonable explanation of why he doesn't believe up until, he's given undeniable proof that he, doesn't act like an idiot after that. Alvin's obsession with monster movies I thought was actually kind of funny. The dad, I always forget his name, Mr. Dad, whatever his name was. He was a good character. I liked his response in a lot of the movie, and how he actually tries to defend his kids from the Wolfman. That was pretty good. What else? Some of the fight scenes were kind of nice. Honestly, this movie is just kind of one of those movies that's kind of hard to list things about it, but is really good when all put together. And I love the mysteries built around Mr. Talbot, as even though it's so obvious that he's the Wolfman, you almost don't want to think it's him. And now, of course, I've seen this movie so many times and so long ago that what happens in the movie in a lot of ways is burnt into my head, or at least the general thematic points. But I still think it was well done, as it perfectly calibrates he is so obviously the Wolfman, but yet he's so obviously the Wolfman, could he actually be the Wolfman? Yeah, he's the Wolfman, but still, the little bit of contrast is nice. And what else do I like? Theodore's character in it was actually kind of enjoyable. Now, I'll be first. I'm always a sucker for the nerd, science, smart character. I just like those characters in general. But I did like Theodore's almost I don't know. I enjoyed him. A lot of times I just consider him just there, but he was kind of enjoyable in this movie. I can always forget what those girl chipmunks are called, both names and the general group. I can never remember, but they were fine too. They actually did play a pretty big role in the movie, but mostly the female version of Theodore. Why can't I remember their names? Whatever. Although I do have to ask one question: why are they so big? Like all 6 of the chipmunks, they're like what? Like they're smaller than the other people they're with, but not by much. And there's it's something I've always wondered about, to the point I even question if in this universe they're supposed to be chipmunks. Or how much were they mutated at some point? Bit by a radioactive chipmunk? Or human? Or Spider-Man bit them? Spider-Man just whip sling out of nowhere and bite the chipmunks? It was like Marvel Zombies, but weird. Anyway, I think that's going to be all I'm going to talk about for today. It's just a really charming movie from my past, and a great way to kick off the Halloween season, as probably either my first or probably second favorite holiday, and I love it to bits. So expect more Halloween-themed videos on the way, because you better believe I'm milking this season till it's dry, and then I'm going to keep milking it, because it's Halloween, baby! Woo! Yeah? Hey, why don't you hit that sub button? You're gonna become a subscribble. Get to see my content quicker. Wouldn't that be nice? I bet so.